do. Hoo-ah. Hello, folks on the internet. It's me, the person you think is nuts. Me. Yes, it is me, the crazy one. And today, I'm going to rant a lot and scream really loudly. Today, we're going to talk about conversations. Now, I've known the rules ever since I learned how to talk and stuff. It immediately hit my head, the 5 rules to a good conversation. But let me tell you things that you should do to erupt a good conversation. For starters, a good conversation usually consists of questions and answers that have to be spelled out or talked about in almost an educated way. I'm not saying that the conversation needs to be educational. I'm just saying educated answers usually make a good conversation, or a funny conversation, because some things are stupider than others. Like we were just talking about the Italians attacking the Germans during World War II, and there was a certain battle, I'm sure someone can look it up, where the Italians sent out what could be known as junks. I don't know what the Italians call them. I guess they're just wooden man-of-wars against a German battleship, a metal battleship. And we were cracking up talking about it. But let's go back to the 5 rules. Okay, there's 5 main rules. Some of you may know these. I created these rules in my head. I don't know if there's anything written about it. If there is, cool. But I decided to tell you my 5 rules. For starters, the 5 rules have several things that go together. 1, things that are inevitable or we don't want. Things that we do want but hate talking about it, and things that we fantasize about are usually bad things to talk about, or just bad stuff in general. For starters, the first thing you never ever talk about at a conversation with friends or family is death and disease. Rule number 1, never start a conversation about death and disease. I am sick and tired of hearing this. Every time I get along with my friends, I realized that this rule is true. Every time I'm along with friends or family members, they talk about disease, which leads to death, like cancer and pneumonia and tumors and brain lobotomies and crud like that. Some things are funny, like saying lobotomy. You know, those things are funny. But I don't need to hear about cancer and how it kills you. I don't need to hear about tumors and how they kill you too. I don't need to learn about muscular disfiguration. I really don't need to know about bladder cancer. I don't really need to know about anything of this sort. If I get something, I'll heal it. And I don't suspect I'll be getting any of these horrible diseases anytime soon, but talking about them gets depressing. And they make for horrible conversation because usually it starts out with tumors and then all of a sudden it ends up with full-blown skin rashes that eat themselves and have the blood fall out and you die from bleeding to death. Yay! These make for pretty horrible conversations. Usually only 2 people talking about it while the rest of them are staring at them. When are they going to shut up? So that's rule number 1. Death and disease. Not subjects to talk about with friends, especially if they have elderly family members. Last thing they need to hear is them dying. Next, there's a big one. Relationships. I'm going to say this clear so everyone understands. No one cares. Unless someone asks you, how is Frankie or how is Joanne? And you answer fine or good and everything's splendid and all that stuff. And if they ask anything further, you can answer. But starting a conversation, my relationship's doing good. Relationships and divorce are 2 things we don't talk about. You really don't need to talk about this stuff. Why? You post it on Facebook all day long, or Twitter, or whatever the frick you have, MySpace, that antique. We don't need to hear about it at a dinner table. Unless someone asks, it is not a subject to talk about, especially divorce, you know. I find talking to my friends, usually relationships are out of it unless it's bad. And if it's bad, the person doesn't shut up about it. I mean that really, the person just doesn't shut up. It's just nonstop. Divorce is a subject you don't talk about. So relationships pretty much are off subjects. Next, big one. Money! That's number 3. This is probably the main subject between any of my friends who are guys, besides women. Money. How much money do you have in your pocket? I get asked this question a lot about money, or talked about a lot, and it is one of the most annoying subjects I can think of on the face of the earth. Money. Why are we talking about money? Why are we talking about other people's money? It's not our money. Why are we comparing people's jobs and how much they make a year? When I tell them mine, they're all stunned and go, "You make so little." That is true. You make a lot, but I don't smoke, so I get to keep more of it. But let's not talk about money. I just laugh about it and sit there and, oh my goodness. Did you hear how much President Obama made this year? Oh, jeez. More than Bush. More than Clinton. It's 2016. How much do you think I'll make? Money is an off subject. It's a difficult subject because you either irritate people who don't make a lot of money, or people are all staring at you because you make the most, but you're complaining the highest. You know, I have friends who make $60,000 or $70,000 a year, and they don't stop complaining. And I'm looking at them going, why are you complaining? You make more money than everyone sitting at this table. And you're the only one who isn't happy about how much money I make a year. You should make more, like $150 billion. Next, following money, usually follows this. Once someone mentions presidents or politicians, we get to politics. Politics is another off subject to not talk about because half the people at the table don't like whoever's in, and the other half do. Usually this starts conflict. And the person talking either makes the person who they're talking about sound like a monarch or a wonderful guy. You're going to irritate everybody. Now, like I said, I'm non-biased or whatever. I don't know what that means. Whatever. I look at what it is without a political view of who the person's what the person's doing and how they're doing it. So I see things differently. But when people talk about how it's evil, well, then we get the little chaos, and I sit there and just shake my head and go, ooh, good to patootie. Next, the fifth subject, never to talk about at a table, religion. Remember what religion means? I talked about it earlier. I'm sure very few of you watched that one. It's okay. Religion is a difficult subject to talk about. Religion is something you don't talk about. I don't talk about anything religious because I think religion is a creation of the devil to be evil. That's what religion is. Go to most churches, they're religious. I think it's a creation of the devil, and I don't go to them. Most people, though, disagree with me. And usually at a party, they sit down and talk to me about it. Like I care. You're not going to change my mind. I believe in Jesus. Get over it. Well, yeah, but you got to believe in God, too. They're the same freaking person. Blah. So yeah, religion is a subject you don't talk about because you're going to hit atheists, Judaist, other religious people, people who don't believe in God in general. And the huge argument will always continue on, and I hate going into it. Excuse me, dude, that's yawn. It always ruins my videos, but it's coming to the end. So I've hit my 5 points of things not to talk about at a conversation. Use these 5 points when talking to people. Remember, if you're talking to your boss, you don't give half hoot about any of this. I hope you understand that. He's not going to give half hoot about any of this bullcrud. He really is not. And your friends, well, they've heard it more than once because they read it on your Facebook or by MySpace or Twitter prior to meeting up with you. Now, I do hope you do meet up with people and talk to them in person. I have a Facebook. I have it because people don't pick up their cell phones. Don't find me. I'll create a page for Crazy Me, in which you can find me and correct me, which is fine. That's why it's an opinion. Opinions are meant to be corrected. Use soft language. Talk to me. I've gotten several messages saying I effed up on everything. I'm not going to acknowledge your message if you use the word effed up, or I'm full of bullcrud, or anything like that. Communicate to me like a human. And if you're a lowrider guy, you've restored the car beyond new. I'm glad you have. I'm glad you saved the car. But you've restored it beyond new. so it's not like the original, okay? Hopefully we got this clear. Enjoy restoring your cars. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I veer off as many times as I plausibly can. That's why talking to me sometimes is very difficult. Welcome to ADD. Sorry, I don't have that. I have other issues. All right, well, enjoy whatever day is after today, or whenever you watch this, enjoy the next day. And I hope you see the next day. It's a very good thing. So, if you ever see me on the street, you want to start a conversation, don't start it with any of those things. Ask a question about a car. You'll have me for hours. Talking, of course. Have a good weekend.